Our next speaker is an extremely accomplished young gentleman from Dehlvi. He describes himself as a devoted Indo-Islamic scholar. He is Mr. Ghulam Rasool Dehlvi. He is a lecturer in Arabic and Islamic studies, in comparative. He's a scholar of comparative religions, a writer on classical Islamic theology, and also a translator and researcher in communication and cultural studies, a translator in Arabic, Urdu, Persian, and Hindi. And his talk is going to be on the Indo-Islamic approach or the perspective of art. So Mr. Ghulam,
I would like to add to that introduction, most importantly, he is my peer bhai. We belong to the same peer khana. And last year at Jamia Arfia, which is my peer khana, my alma mater, he was given the Young Scholar Award. And he inspired me to get really deep into Ghazali. I heard his talk on Ghazali Day there, and that's how we were introduced to each other.
Well, I'm not much of a scholar, just a seeker and a Sufi lover. रहे मोहब्बत में हमने सोचा, रहे मोहब्बत में हमने सोचा कि सर झुकाएं कहाँ से पहले, रहे मोहब्बत में हमने सोचा कि सर झुकाएं कहाँ से पहले, हर एक जर्रा पुकार उठा यहाँ से पहले, यहाँ से पहले. In the path of divine love, when I was wondering where to begin moving down, every nook and corner of this khanqah started saying, begin here, bring it from here, begin from here. So I must extend my deepest gratitude and sincere thanks to my beloved brother, my spiritual sibling, Dr. Mehdi Kazmi Sahab, for inviting me all the way from India to North America, to Aulia Council of North America, and providing such a beautiful, fascinating opportunity to not just speak, but to listen the beautiful resonance of arts and architecture, aesthetics. Deeply moved by the incredible zest, insatiable passion, and the inner flame of desire that Dr. Mehdi Kazmi Sahab has exhibited throughout this journey. I'm amazed that despite his very hectic schedule, his profound engagement with the Khanqah, with the Aulia Council, is beyond my imagination. It only reminds me of what the famous poet and philosopher of Faizabad, Awadh, Mir Anis Faizabadi says, and I quote, लगा रहा हूँ मज़ामीन नौ के फिर अंबार, लगा रहा हूँ मज़ामीन नौ के फिर अंबार, खबर करो मेरे खिरमन के खोशा चीनों को, खबर करो मेरे खिरमन के खोशा चीनों को. That I'm going to gather in my harvest new thoughts and new themes, spread the news among all those who want to pick up from my harvest. But there is a note of caution, Mr. Mahmood Kazmi Sahab. Shakil Badayuni, in the words of Shakil Badayuni, मुझे खौफ आतिशे गिरगुल से है, मेरा अज़्म इतना बुलंद है, मेरा अज़्म इतना बुलंद है कि पराए शोरों का डर नहीं. मेरा अज़्म इतना बुलंद है कि पराए शोरों का डर नहीं. मुझे खौफ आतिशे गुल से है कि कहीं चमन को जला न दे. मुझे खौफ आतिश गुल से है कि कहीं चमन को जला नहीं. My confidence, my self-confidence is so strong that I'm not afraid of foreign flames. All I'm afraid of is that these, sometimes a garden is set on fire by the flames of the flowers.
I wouldn't call it confidence, I would call it conviction.
So this is the courage of conviction, the Hussaini Jazba, that I salute. And I hope that inshallah it will wake up many hearts, many hearts in North America and beyond. Let me proceed ahead with a beautiful prophetic prayer which was bestowed upon Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, as beautifully mentioned in the Holy Quran. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani. O narrator, open for me my chest and make my task easy and remove all the impediment from my speech so that all people may understand me. So the topic that I have chosen to speak on today is arts and aesthetics in Indo-Islamic tradition. I find myself nowhere to speak on this topic in presence of the learned scholar Dr. Kamali Saab from Harvard University and Dr. Kishore Rizvi, who has already amazed us, has left us spellbound with a beautiful elaboration on the aesthetic and artistic characteristics of as witness to Islam. The Holy Quran beautifully says that all arts, architecture, especially the sacred sites, are witness to the divine creativity. Shairullah. وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ. And those who honor these arts and aesthetics, these architecture, these sacred sites, they harbor the purity of heart. Taqwa al-qulub, فَإِنَّهَا مِن تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. So they harbor the purity of heart. So honoring art is purity of heart, according to the Holy Quran. So like I said, from purely theological perspective, honoring arts is actually the beautiful representation of purifying heart, taqwa al-qulub. दिलों का तकवा है. आर्ट्स को, एस्थेटिक्स को, जमालियात को ये जानने की बहुत ज़रूरत है. माफ़ कीजिएगा, बीच में मैं हिंदुस्तानी ज़बान इस्तेमाल करूँगा. Islam, which emerged in the barren land of Arabia, unfortunately has been taken as a desert religion. Well, Islam did emerge in a barren land in the Hijaz, and unfortunately it was, it came under the clutches of Najd, which transformed the whole beautiful, vibrant, robust tradition into a desert religion throughout the history. But then it traveled far and wide. It went to Baghdad, it went to Nishapur Nizamiya, it went to Samarkand, Gharnata, Cordoba, Granada, and last but not the least, to the beautiful land of mystics, Indian subcontinent, where Islam became so culture friendly, so artistic, and we nowhere in the world you will find festivals like Eid-e-Gulabi. It was only in the Indo-Islamic tradition. Eid-e-Gulabi is the beautiful festival of Holi, which was celebrated by Sufi saints and emperors and kings, Varis Pia, Mughal emperors, Akbar, And then we have Eidul Alwan. Eidul Alwan in Arabic, it is the festival of colors. And then Eidul Anwar. Eidul Anwar is Diwali. And then Basant Panchami, which is celebrated as a beautiful, memorial of the incredible divine love between Radha and Krishna, was later transformed into Sufi Basant, conceived by Amir Khusro for Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia. Such a culture-friendly tradition, Indo-Islamic tradition, this gave a befitting, reply to those who have tried to project Islam as desert religion, or those who mistakenly or under some Islamophobic impulses think that Islam is a desert religion. So what is Indo-Islamic tradition, first of all? Indo-Islamic tradition, in my understanding, is a beautiful product of India's age-old ties with the citadels of learning and spirituality, right from Hijaz in Arabia to Baghdad, Basra in Iraq, Qom, Mashhad and Shiraz in Iran, Al-Quds and Jerusalem in Palestine, and in Spain, Andalusia, Granada, Córdoba, Granada and Cordoba. So as this Khanqa is named after great Sufi saint, a loving and dancing saint of India, Baba Fariduddin Ganj Shakar, let me tell you that this beautiful Indo-Islamic tradition could be traced back to not only to the early ages of Islam, but to Islamic tradition in India over 800 years ago. The prominent Indian Sufi Baba Fariduddin, Baba Farid Ganj Shakar, who is also known as Baba Sahab or Hazrat Baba Farid, from Ajodh in Pakistan, he chose to travel to Palestine for his 40-day Chilla Muraqabah meditation for peace, and thus inspiring the peace-building processes in Palestine. And in the old city of Jerusalem, there is still a place called Az-Zawiyatul Hindiya, Indian Hospice. Again, this is also that hospice. This Khanqa is very similar. Indian Hospice, which is also known as Hindi Sarai or Indian Lodge, where Baba Farid lived and meditated in the early 13th century. Traditionally, Indian pilgrims have gathered at Baba Farid's lodge, hospice, bringing with them instruments, beautiful musical instruments and melodies, and from the famous Indian province of Punjab. And since then, Sufis have been singing verses written by Baba Farid and the beautiful poems and hymns from Guru Granth Sahib of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the central scripture in Sikhism. So this is the vibrant and robust Indo-Islamic heritage, which is stemmed from the Persian cultural roots. Our Islam in India has never been Arabized Islam. It has always been Persianite Islam. The ancient Indic civilization and their pluralistic moorings and their intersection interplay with the Persian ethos. So in Hamadan, in Kashmir, you see Shahi Hamadan is a beautiful example of that. They did not bring only Islam, they also brought beautiful crafts, arts, handicrafts from Persia, from Iran. And Hamdan, he was the king of Hamdan, Shahi Hamdan. And then this was beautifully woven into a beautiful story called Rishi Sufism, where you see Laleshwari, a Shaivite mystic becomes a Sufi woman, Shaivite Sufi woman, Laleshwari, Lalide. Muslims call her Lalla Arifa, and Hindus believe that she is Laleshwari of Shiva. Similarly, you have Nundurishi, Nuruddin for us, Nundurishi for Hindus. So this is the Indo-Islamic tradition. When Ibn al-Arabi of Andalusia, sitting in his on his Masnad, when he chanced upon the translation of Shankaracharya's explanation of Vedanta, Advaita, non-dualism, he found, the resonance of Wahdatul Wajud, unity of the existence, the cornerstone of Sufism. So Ibn al-Arabi also was fascinated with, somewhere with Advaita, non-dualism, or concept of Vedantic concept of unity of the existence. And this Wahdatul Wajud beautifully reflected the Indian concept of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. All world is one family of God. Now the verbatim translation of Vasudeva Kutumbakam is the beautiful prophetic tradition, Hadith, Al-Khalqu Ayalullah. All mankind is one family of God. And then Hazrat Khwaja Gharib Nawaz says, if you want to serve the Creator in the truest sense of the meaning, you have to serve the creations. And this is what actually, all Chishti Sufis have. Professor Kamali beautifully explained it in our discourse, in our informal discourse a couple of days ago. He said that if anywhere in the world service-oriented Sufism exists, it is in the land of India, Indian subcontinent, both India and Pakistan. And we have to carry forward that tradition, that vibrant and practical tasawwuf, abadi tasawwuf, service-oriented Sufism, not just philosophical. I would beg to disagree with many Sufi scholars, theorists. They keep harping on wujudi tasawwuf, wahdatul wajud. But when it comes to khidmat-e-khalq, service to mankind, they miserably fail. Here lies the importance, vital and paramount importance of Chishtiya tradition that Khanqah Chishtiya Faridiyya Husainiya is trying to herald in North America. So Al-Khalqu Ayalullah, the whole mankind is one family of God. And this is the emblem of pluralism in Indo-Islamic tradition. There is a famous verse in the Quran which says that diversity is the desire and design of the divine. This is, I translated in my poor translation loosely like this: diversity is the desire and design of the divine. وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَآمَنَ كُلُّ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. If Allah had willed, all people on the earth would have been community of believers. But no, Allah didn't want that. Allah wants our garden to be full of different flowers. And this is the richness of cultural and literary Islamic heritage in India, which stands on the solid bedrock of pursuit of shared knowledge. I would say that when we talk about Indo-Islamic tradition or Islamic Indology, in other words, we must not forget Abu Rayhan al-Biruni. One of the forefathers of Indo-Islamic tradition was Abu Rayhan al-Biruni, who came all the way from Baghdad, from Khurasan, and he spent a lot of time. I read somewhere that he was not allowed to sit with the Brahmins, priests, because he had different attire. Then he gave up all his attire. He chose his saffron color, Gerumaran, and then started learning, shared knowledge, and he wrote Tahqiq al-Hind, or in other words, Kitab al-Hind, and the study of the first ever written book on Indian history, the seminal Arabic work on Indian ideas, Tahqiq al-Hind, and then Ibrahim al-Fazali's seminal work, translation of Indian astronomical treatise Siddhanta, Kitab al-Sindh, at the order of Abbasid Caliph al-Mansur, and then al-Khwarizmi's book on modern algebra, al-Jami' wa Tafriq bil-Hisab al-Hindi, book of addition and subtraction in Indian mathematics, and the most celebrated Arabic prose by Ibn al-Muqaffa, Kalila wa Dimna. Kalila wa Dimna is translation of actually originally translated from Sanskrit into Dehlvi, and then into Arabic, and it was only when it came into Arabic that it made it famous. These Sanskrit fables were made famous only when Ibn al-Muqaffa translated. Ibn al-Muqaffa was a Persian scholar who was one of the most excellent Arabic prose writer, and this is how Indo-Arab cultural heritage came into being, traveling across ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, Central Asia and Africa, Caucasian lands to the region of East Asia. Indo-Islamic heritage has not only enriched itself but the entire world fraternity. So while we have beautiful poetry of Hazrat Amir Khusro, his musical innovations continue to inspire the soul of Hindustani Qawwali. I was in the morning, in my morning meditation, I was contemplating the artistic and aesthetics of the beloved divine creator. I think all arts and architecture and philosophia of arts is actually a beautiful representation of the three attributes of Allah: Al-Khaliq, Al-Bari and Al-Musawwir. So when Allah wanted to create human beings, it's very famously stated that when Allah says in the Quran, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. When God wanted to create mankind, He announced, I'm going to create my substitutes, my vicegerents, or my agents on this planet Earth. And you know the whole story of angels and Saturn and Adam. What happens? In the traditional, conventional theology, most clerics or most Maulvis fail to understand the meaning of Khalifa or Khilafat. What is this Khalifa fil Ard? Is it just political, sovereignty on the earth? No, not at all, as the political Islamists believe. It is actually to be agents of God in the divine creativity. So as human beings, like Ibn al-Arabi says, Ibn al-Arabi beautifully says in Al-Futuhat al-Makkiyah, the Revelations, his book, beautiful book, that human beings are the created creators of the Creator. Human beings are the created creators of the Creator. When, as agents of God, as Khalifatullahi fil Ard, as agents of God on the earth, we are supposed to create, innovate, manifest, accentuate the divine creativity. And this is how we become mazhar, representatives of kun fayakun. Or in the words of Ghulam, I was discussing with Dr. Kazmi Sahab. When Ghulam says, Ghulam is not just an Urdu poet, but also wonderful man of creative imagination, of takhayyul and tasawwur. He gives us perfect example of how to be an agent of God as a representation of al-musawwir. He says in one of his couplets, आते हैं मज़ामी, आते हैं गैब से मज़ामी ख्याल में, आते हैं गैब से मज़ामी ख्याल में, गालिब सरीर खामा नवाए फरोश है, गालिब सरीर खामा नवाए फरोश है. From the unseen, from the ghaib, these beautiful thoughts keep incurring into my imagination, and these echoes of the pen, they resonate the revelations or announcement of the archangel. So he's not claiming to be a prophet, but he says that my pen echoes and that announcement of the archangel, the revelations, in his imagination, creative imagination, which is called khayal, I think there are infinite possibilities for divine creativity. And you know, khayal is also a form of Indian classical raga. And what was that? It was actually Dhrupad. It was actually classical Indian raga Dhrupad, which Hazrat Amir Khusro developed and changed into khayal gaiki. So this is the divine creativity, full of possibilities, which is part and parcel of Indo-Islamic tradition. And there is no denying the fact that such an Islamic heritage is an integral part of human endeavor for a civilized society based on the ideals of shumuliyat, inclusivity, i'tidal, moderation. It's a problematic terminology, moderate or moderation, but I do not find any other word. Wasatiyya, plurality, takthiriyat, and accommodation, not just toleration, which deters exclusivism, extremism, religious supremacism, fanaticism. Therefore, these human values in the current Islamic discourses must be celebrated and consecrated both in Muslim countries as well as in democratic setups. I think I'm running short of time, so let it give it a happy ending. I would say that this is the time, we are living in a time when we have seen a lot of stage shows of interfaith or inter-religious, building, peace-building processes. And in India, you will find not a single day passes in India when we have an interfaith conference in some parts of India. But all this has become run-of-the-mill. They harbor people of different faith traditions and religions. They harbor the same exclusivist tendencies, but they are not coming into terms. They are not ready for a genuine inter-scriptural, inter-spiritual dialogue, which was opened up by people like Tara Shikoh through his Majma al-Bahrain, amalgamations of two waters or mingled waters of Islam and Hinduism. So this is the time that we have to take up this task. Although this is too gigantic a task to achieve, but I think that Khanqah-e Chishtiya Faridiya Hussainiya may play a vital role, inshallah, with what we call Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb, the composite culture of Indo-Islamic tradition, which is a fusion of the Vedic tradition and the Buddhist eightfold path, Ashtanga, Ahimsa of Mahavira, and the Sikh focus on the divine light, Vaheguru, which all finds resonance in the Sufi philosophy of the Wahdatul Wujud, unity of the existence. And this is how we can not only open the doors for the interfaith and interfaith harmony, but a genuine inter-spiritual and inter-scriptural dialogue, which in the words of the Quran, Ta'alu ilas kalimatin saba'in baynana wa baynakum. Let us come to the common grounds. And we do have common grounds that we need to come to. With that, I wrap up, and I again pray for Dr. Kazmi Saab that his initiative will wake up many, many hearts, inshallah. Khuda Hafiz.
नाज़रीन अस्सलाम वालेकुम। आज महपैक औलिया काउंसिल ऑफ नॉर्थ अमेरिका में जनाब ग़ुलाम रसूल देहलवी कलमकार और सूफ़ीज़म पे तहकीक और बात करने के लिए ग़ुलाम रसूल देहलवी साहब यहाँ तशरीफ़ लाए। जनाब, सबसे पहले आपको हम न्यूयॉर्क में वेलकम करते हैं और अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम सलाम। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। काविश की जो काविश है उसमें मैं आपको मुबारकबाद देना चाहूँगा कि आप आज औलिया काउंसिल ऑफ नॉर्थ अमेरिका खानकाह चिश्तिया फ़रीदिया हुसैनिया सज्जादिया में तशरीफ़ लाए और आपने इसको कवर किया और हमें सुना।
जी बहुत शुक्रिया। आप हमारे देखने वालों को थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन कीजिएगा, आपकी गुफ्तगू में इंग्लिश में आप बात कर रहे थे तो आपने कहा कि अल्लाह ताला जो है किसी एक रिलीजन को नहीं बल्कि सब को मुख्तलिफ फूलों की तरह देखना और पसंद करना चाहते हैं। ये
तो मैंने आज
जी
आधे घंटे की गुफ्तगू की।
जी
मेरा मौजू था आर्ट्स एंड एस्थेटिक्स इन इंडो इस्लामिक ट्रेडिशन,
जी
यानी हिंदुस्तान की जो इस्लामी वरासत है उसके अंदर जमालियात के क्या अनासिर हैं,
ठीक
और इसके अंदर इस पूरे आधे घंटे की जो गुफ्तगू है इसका अगर मैं लुब्बे लुबाब जो आपने सवाल पूछा है उसका मैं अगर लुब्बे लुबाब दूं तो मौलाए रूम जलालुद्दीन रूमी रहमतुल्लाह अलैह की ज़बान में, जो आज दुनिया की आफाकी रूहानी ज़बान है, वो कहते हैं कि तू बराए वसल करदन आमदी, तू बराए वसल करदन आमदी, न बराए फसल करदन आमदी। यू हैव बीन सेंट टू दिस वर्ल्ड टू यूनाइट द हार्ट्स, नॉट टू डिवाइड देम। और इसी तरीके से हाफिज़ शिराज़ी ने जो बात कही कि हाफिज़ा गर वसल ख्वाही सुलह कुन बा खासवाम, बा मुसल्ला अल्लाह अल्लाह, बा मुसलमा अल्लाह अल्लाह, बा ब्राह्मण राम राम। कि हाफिज़ अगर तुम चाहते हो कि लोगों के साथ सुलह करो, इफ़ यू वांट reconciliation with people of all faith traditions, सुलह कुन बा खासवाम, मेक पीस विद ऑल। और आप मुसलमानों के साथ हैं अल्लाह अल्लाह, और ब्राह्मणों के जो राम राम है उनका भी रेस्पेक्ट करो। तो दिस genuine respect, mutual respect for each other, and which is called pluralism, we have to internalize it into our conduct। हमारे सुलूक में, हमारे अखलाक में एक दूसरे के लिए वो एहतराम मुतबादिल आ जाना चाहिए। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि हम दिल से करें ये तो काफिर और मुशरिक है और ऊपर से बस हंस रहे हैं। तो इस वजह से ज़रूरत इस बात की है कि हम यकीन कामिल के साथ इस्लाम का जो ये मैसेज है और जिसको हम कहते हैं सुलह कुल, सब के साथ सुलह करने का, जो हज़रत निज़ामुद्दीन औलिया महबूब इलाही हज़रत अमीर खुसरो का तमाम चिश्तियों का पैगाम रहा है रहमुल्लाहु अजमईन, उस पैगाम को आम करने की ज़रूरत है। आखिर में कहना चाहूँगा कि उनका जो काम है वो अहले सियासत जाने, मेरा पैगाम मोहब्बत है जहाँ तक पहुँचे।
बहुत शुक्रिया, ज़बरदस्त। मेरा पैगाम मोहब्बत है जहाँ तक पहुँचे।